so we're still doing, oh gosh, what is the name of this chapter? I can't even remember. Cohen, what's the name of it?
People who made a difference.
People who made a difference. We're still in people who made a difference. So just draw a squiggly line underneath number 7. And then write today's date. February 4th, 2021. And then we're going to start with number 8. Colin, you will have 3 words to do tonight. So number 8 is the word activist. Activist. How many syllables does the word activist have? Carla.
It has 3 syllables.
It has 3. Activist. My chin touches my hand 3 times. Activist. Activist, A-C-T-I-V-I-S-T, is a noun. Remember, nouns are person, people, places, or things. In this case, an activist is a person. And it is a person who supports, I'm going to have to change my marker, and works toward a belief or cause. So an activist, A-C-T-I-V-I-S-T, is a noun. It's a person. And it is a person who supports and works toward a belief or cause. The activists marched in the protest for equal rights. There it is in context. Number 9. This is a long one. Unconstitutional. Unconstitutional. How many syllables does unconstitutional have? Mason?
5.
Not 5. Michaela?
6.
6. So 5 is close, but it's 6. Unconstitutional. My chin hits my hand 6 times. Unconstitutional. What do we see here? What do we see in this word? Just by looking at it. Oh, let me spell it first. U-N-C-O-N-S-T-I-T-U-T-I-O-N-A-L. If you notice, I'm spelling it in the syllables. First syllable, U-N. Second syllable, C-O-N-S. Third syllable, T-I. Fourth syllable, T-U. Fifth syllable, T-I-O-N. Last syllable, A-L. What do you notice? Lena. Un. What is un again? Aaron? A prefix. And the word un means what? It means the same as what word? Not. So, constitutional is an adjective. Un is a prefix that means not. It's still an adjective. Remember, un does not change the part of speech. It just changes an adjective, a describing word, to the opposite. In changes a noun to the opposite noun. But un changes an adjective to the opposite adjective. So unconstitutional means, or it's an adjective, sorry, I forgot to write that. And it means something is not keeping with the Constitution of a country. So unconstitutional is an adjective that means something is not keeping with the Constitution of a country. That means it goes against the Constitution. So we know that something that is unconstitutional does not keep with the Constitution. It doesn't go with it. So what does constitutional mean? Zadie?
It goes with the Constitution.
It goes with the Constitution. Unconstitutional does not go with the Constitution. It's against it. Constitutional means it goes with the Constitution. It follows the Constitution. It does what it says. So, here it is in context. Not allowing women to vote was unconstitutional. That means it did not keep with the Constitution. The Constitution said anybody gets a vote who's older than 18. If we don't let women vote, does that keep with the Constitution? Does that do what the Constitution tells us if we don't let women vote? No, so it's unconstitutional. Letting women vote is constitutional. The Constitution of the United States says everybody over 18 gets to vote. So letting women vote is constitutional. Not letting them vote is unconstitutional. Number 10 is the word nonviolence. Nonviolence. How many syllables are in nonviolence? Zari. 3. Nonviolence. Nonviolence. 3. Does anybody think that they might notice something in this word? Smith?
A prefix.
A prefix, because we know what is a word. What's a smaller word in this big word, Smith?
Violent.
Violent. So if we cover up non, it still means it's still a word. But non is a prefix that means similar to un. It means it's the opposite. So violence is when people fight each other. Non-violence means they don't fight each other. So non-violence is a noun. And it means not using physical force to express anger or don't write this yet because I have to write it out. I can't, for some reason, I can't remember if disappointment has 2 S's or 1. So don't write this yet because I have to write it. And if it looks wrong, then I know it needs to. That's right. Okay. So nonviolence, N-O-N-V-I-O-L-E-N-C-E, is a noun that means not using physical force to express anger or disappointment. Now we know non is the same as un and in, which mean what word? Non, un, in, those prefixes, they're not actual words. What do they mean? Michaela?
It makes something like the opposite.
But what do they mean? What word can we replace that prefix with? And it means the same thing. Carla?
Not.
Not. So, nonviolence means not using physical force to express anger or disappointment, which means violence means what? I just realized this is like... There we go. Violence means what? Victoria. What do we know non means? Non means the same as what word? Not. So if we take not off the front of the word, what do we do with the definition? So what is the definition of violence? Michaela, make sure to mute yourself.
Using physical force to express anger or disappointment.
So if nonviolence is not using physical force to express anger or disappointment, violence is using physical force to express anger or disappointment. So again, it's just the opposite. We take out the word not, and then we have the definition of the base word. Yes, Mason.
How do you spell disappointment?
Disappointment is spelled D-I-S-A-P-P-O-I-N-T. Sorry, I forgot that. M-E-N-T. D-I-S-A-P-P-O-I-N-T-M-E-N-T. Yes, Smith.
Can I get some medicine? My wrist is all itchy.
Okay, hurry. Yes, Carla, quickly.
It won't take long.
Okay.
When I looked in the dictionary, I noticed that it's actually 4 syllables than 3 because the O.
But we don't say non-violence. We don't say that. We say
Okay.
non-violence.
In William Manor meeting that says the person or practice of opposite of using all physical force or violence.
Yes, but this is a kid-friendly way of saying that.
Oh, okay.
So, it means the same exact thing. It is just written in words that are more kid-friendly. Different dictionaries are going to have the definitions worded differently, but are they going to have completely different definitions that mean something completely different? No. It's just going to be worded differently. And sometimes a more grown-up dictionary might have more definitions for a word, because a children's dictionary is just kind of, or like a kid's dictionary or a student dictionary, is just giving you the stuff that you will hear as a kid. But when you grow up, you'll realize some words mean even more things than you thought. But you don't need those definitions until you're older. Okay, so let's see. In context, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. dedicated his life to protesting using nonviolence. That means he protested, so he shared his disappointment and his anger, but he did not use physical force to express anger or disappointment. He used words to express it. Okay, those are our other vocabulary words, but we have 3 notes to take. So these will not be vocab words, so we're not going to number them. I'm going to go ahead and erase these. You've been sitting there not writing for a really long time, so that's on you. You'll just have to watch this video tonight. Yes? Express is E-X-P-R-E-S-S. Okay, so now we just have 3 notes to take because the skill or the genre of this story today is a letter. Now there are important pieces of letters. When you write a letter, there are 3 main things that you need to have. The first thing is, so this is not numbered. Please don't do that. That was distracting to everybody. The first important piece of a letter is the salutation. So you might want to skip like 2 or 3 lines because these aren't vocabulary words. They are they're notes. Salutation. S-A-L-U-T-A-T-I-O-N. That is the first important piece of a letter. And what it does is it usually uses the word dear. We're going to put that in quotation marks because we're talking about the dear, like the word. It's not part of the sentence. So salutation, if you were typing this, you put it in italics, but we can't write in italics without spending a lot of time. And if your handwriting is messy, sometimes it looks slanted anyway. So the salutation usually uses the word dear to greet the person to whom the letter is written. So the salutation, that's the very first part. For example, dear Miss Polis. So you all know when you start a letter, you start with dear so-and-so. That's the salutation. It usually uses the word dear to greet the person to whom the letter is written. Yes, Mason?
Do you put the last example?
Yes. So that you know exactly which piece of a letter. Wherever you write dear so-and-so, but do we write dear every single time? Sometimes you might just say like Miss Folis. But that's still the salutation. The part where you're saying, this is who my letter is to Zadie. That's the salutation. That's how you start a letter. We'll see some examples as we read. That's the first important basic piece of a letter. There are more. It's like the verb tenses. There are more than those three basic ones, but we're only going to talk about 3 this year. That's like this. There are more pieces to a letter, but we're really only going to talk about 3 of them this year in this lesson. The next part of a letter, skip a line, is the body. The body of the letter. You probably already have an idea of what I mean by that. Because what comes next in a letter? Well, after you write who it's to, what you want to tell them comes next. So that's the body. It's the main part of the letter. It's the part that gives all the information. Why are you writing this letter? The body will tell us. It's the main part of the letter. It is usually divided into one or more paragraphs. So that means when you write a letter, you write it in paragraph form. Sometimes your letter is short and sweet. You only need 1 paragraph. Sometimes you're writing to somebody you haven't seen in a long time, and you have a lot to tell them. So it's like 6 pages of paragraphs. Just depends. Yes, Aaron. Paragraphs, that's exactly how it sounds, except a PH instead of an F. So P-A-R-A-G-R-A-P-H-S. Paragraphs. Last part is the complementary closing. Complementary closing. C-O-M-P-L-I-M-E-N-T-A-R-Y. Closing. C-L-O-S-I-N-G. Yes, Zadie.
Those are two separate words, right?
Yes, they are two separate words. Complimentary is one word, closing is another word. Yes, quickly.
Does complimentary mean free?
Not free. Complimentary, this is like complimentary breakfast if you go to a hotel. I don't even think it's called complimentary. I think it's, maybe it is. That means you get free breakfast. That's not what this is. Complimentary, this is the complimentary, like compliment. Like if you give somebody a compliment, you're saying something nice to them. A complimentary closing is like the nice thing you say, and I'll tell you the rest, but it's a nice thing you say. What it is the line above where the letter, I'm going to have to change markers, writer writes their name. So this is not where they write, this is not their name. But it's the complimentary closing is the line above it. So for example, love, comma, and then I'm going to sign my name underneath it. Miss Folis. The complimentary closing is this word love. Not Miss Folis, but the word love. That is the complimentary closing. And those are the three parts of the letter. Dear Miss Folis is the salutation. I hope you're having a great day. I'm having a great day. We are going on vacation tomorrow. So I've been packing and getting everything ready. I can't wait to go to Hawaii for a whole week, period. There's my body. Love, Miss Folis. Love is that complimentary closing. And then I sign my name because I'm the one writing it. So yes, I wrote myself a letter. That is, none of it is true, but that's what it is. And we will see these as we go in this story. Okay, so finish writing those. And then open your book to page 324.
Can we put our notebooks away?
We're on page 324. You're going to get to read one, maybe two paragraphs, but most likely one. Michaela, what is the genre of this story?
Letters are written messages that people send to each other.
Okay. What text features will we see today, Michaela?
A salutation is the line in the letter in which the writer greets the person to whom she or he is writing.
Okay, so the dear so-and-so. What else?
The body of a letter is the main part of the letter, containing the messages, the messenger.
The message. So, it's why you're writing the letter. It has all the information that tells the person it's to why you're writing the letter. Okay, go ahead and read the title and the author, Zadie, loud and slow.
Miss Wallace, you have to pick someone else because I'm
Me. Dear Mrs. Parks, make sure you're following along with your finger. That will show me that you are focused and you are not zoning out. When I see your finger moving along with what I read, that tells me that you're paying attention. You know exactly where we are. Dear Mrs. Parks, by Rosa Parks with Gregory J. Reed. Introduction. In 1955, civil rights activist Rosa Parks was arrested for refusing to give up her seat on a bus to a white person. Her action helped bring about a bus boycott in Montgomery, Alabama. For over a year, thousands of African Americans refused to ride buses in that city. The boycott ended when the U.S. Supreme Court said that separate seating for whites and blacks on the city's buses was unconstitutional. The following letters are from a collection of letters between children and Rosa Parks. So what that's telling us is we're going to read some letters from children, and we're going to look for these three things. And then we're going to get to read Rosa Parks' answer. Rosa Parks says, yeah, that is how we say it. Rosa Parks' answers to these questions. So, we're looking at page 325. Please read the letter. Aaron, loud and slow.
Dear Mrs. Parks,
Louder.
I live in the New England area, and I always wondered about the South. When you were growing up in Alabama, did you think that things would ever get better for African Americans? Kelly. Heart or Kelly?
Good. Which part of that letter is the salutation? Cullen.
Dear Mrs. Parks.
And then what part comes next? Carla.
The body.
The body. We're not going to read out the body because it's long and Aaron just read it to us. But the body contained the actual message. Why is Kelly writing to Mrs. Parks? Well, the body tells us. Do we have a complimentary closing in this letter? Smith.
No.
No, we just have a closing. We don't have a word before the person signs their name. We just have their name and then where she's from. So we do have a closing because the closing is just this whole thing. This whole thing is the closing. Love, Miss Folis is the whole thing. So we have somebody's name. We know who wrote it. So we have a closing. We just don't have a complimentary closing. We don't have that word like love or sincerely or from or your friend, comma, whatever. Okay, so now we get to read Rosa Parks' answer. Ethan, please read first. Read the first paragraph on page 325 after the letter.
We knew that
Loud, loud, loud.
we knew that they had to get better. The South had suffered under the unjust laws of segregation far too long. It was time for something to happen to turn things around.
Good. Find the word unjust in that paragraph that Ethan just read. Find the word unjust. Now we know un means the same thing as not, right? But listen to what happens to this sentence when I use not just instead of unjust. The South had suffered under the not just laws of segregation far too long. It's correct, but does it sound right? No. So sometimes you have to use the words with prefixes instead of saying not. Make sure you're not zoned out. There's a lot of people zoning out. Because it just doesn't sound right if you use the word not instead of the prefix un. It doesn't sound right to say not just laws. But unjust laws does sound correct. So that's why you really have to be careful to make sure that you're using the correct prefixes. Otherwise, your writing just doesn't sound as good. Okay, thank you, Ethan. Read next. Zari, loud and slow.
During my childhood years, I had been bothered by the fact that white children had privileges that I did not. I was deeply hurt by the hate that some white people, even children, felt toward me and my people because of our skin. But my mother and grandmother taught me to continue to respect myself and stay focused on making myself read for opportunity.
Nope, not read. Sorry, not read. Was that word?
But my mother and my grandmother taught me to respect myself and stay focused on making myself ready for opportunity.
Good.
They felt that a better day had to come, and they wanted me to be a part of it. But it was up to us to make it better.
Good. Read next. Zadie, loud and slow.
As an adult, I would go home thirsty on a hot summer day. Rather than take a drink from the colored-only fountain, I would not be a part of an unjust system that was designed to make me feel
Try it.
inferior.
Now that looks like it would be like you would say inferior. Does that sound kind of like a word that maybe you do know? It's okay if it doesn't, because we're building our vocabulary. But some people have heard this word before. Kingston, does it sound kind of like a word you do know? Inferior. Inferior. So inferior. Good.
I would not be a part of an unjust system that was designed to make me feel inferior.
Inferior. Who knows what the word inferior means? What does the word inferior mean? Kingston?
Well, it's that like, okay, it's like, so.
Make sure you're listening, because if you've never heard this word before, well, now Kingston is maybe telling you what it means. So if you read it again, which you will at some point in your life, you'll already know what it means. It'll already make sense.
Well, make you feel like you're lower than anybody else.
Good. Inferior means lower than or less than. So she's saying she would not be part of an unjust system that was designed to make her feel inferior or less than everybody else. Read next. Kingston, loud and slow. Well, I feel like you're doing this on purpose now, to not have to read. So that's 2 consequences now, from now on.
What do you mean to?
It used to be 1, but it's not working. 1 consequence is not working, so that means the consequence have to get bigger so that maybe they'll work. So now it's 2 consequences. Colin, read next.
I knew that this type of system was wrong and could not last.
Wait, we see not last. Can we always replace not with the prefix un? Can we say unlast? Can we say, I knew that this type of system was wrong and could unlast? Does that make sense? No. So we can't always replace not with un. So make sure that you're aware of that, especially when you get to your independent practice / homework if we don't have time. Keep going.
I did not know
Louder.
when, but I felt like the people would rise up and demand
Not
justice.
demained, but not demained. Short A instead of long A. The rest of it is right. You just said long A instead of short A. So it's not demained, it's
Demand.
cover up DE and D at the end. And what is that?
Man.
Man. So now add DE to the beginning and D to the end.
Demand.
Demand. Just start at the comma.
But I felt like the people would rise up and demand justice. I did not plan for that point of change to being with
Not to being, but
to begin with my actions on the bus that evening in 1955. But I was already to take a stand.
Okay, go ahead and turn the page. And we're starting with another letter. Smith, please read the letter. Loud and slow.
Dear Mrs. Parks, what is hope? I have read that you hope for this world to be a better place to live in, and you haven't given up. I'm still figuring out what is hope. And then maybe I can help hope out to make this a better world and be like you. Elizabeth, Grosse Point, Michigan.
Good. What do both of these letters have? The letter that Aaron read and the letter that Smith just read. They both have some things that are the same. What do they have that's the same? Zari.
They both have salutations, and they both have bodies, just not complementary clothing. They just have clothing.
Good. So they both have a salutation. They both say, Dear Mrs. Parks. They both have a body. They have the message of the letter. And they both have a closing. They don't have a complimentary closing. They don't have yours truly or love or sincerely or from your friend. Whatever. They just say the name. But they have those three main parts of the letter. The salutation. Who is it to? The body. What is it about? And the closing. Who's it from? Those are the three main things you need in a letter. If you don't have those three things, you don't have a letter. Okay. Please read the first paragraph of Rosa Parks' answer. Carla. Loud and slow.
Isabel.
Not Isabel.
I need help saying that word.
Okay. So cover up everything but the E. It's all by itself. It's a long E. How would you say it?
E.
E. Cover everything up except for L-I-Z. How would you say that?
Liz.
Liz. So far we have E, Liz. Cover up everything but the A. It's a short A sound. Or actually it's a short U sound. This A all by itself has actually a short U sound. Cover up everything but B-E-T-H.
Bell.
Not bell. There's no L's. But there is T-H. Beth. Okay, so if we have E, Liz, Beth, what is that name?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. So go ahead, start again.
Elizabeth. Many times we as adults see to teach students like you without giving you example of what true meaning of the words are, so that you can learn from them.
Read next. Mason, loud and slow.
Hope is wanting something that means a lot to you. It is like wanting something that you do not have. Hope is something we feel with our hearts. When we hope for something with our hearts, it becomes an exploration.
Not exploration. Let's chunk this word. This is a good word to chunk. So cover up everything but EX. And how do you say that, Mason? We're chunking it, so we're only saying each sound individually. X. Cover everything but PEC. Peck. Cover up everything but TA. There's two ways this can sound. Or it could sound like ta, or it could sound like, could have a short A sound and sound not ta with a short A, or it could have a long A. What would it sound like with a long A? Cover, use your fingers. You're only looking at TA. If it has a long A, how does it sound? That short A, ta, t, or t, a is short A. But long A would be t, A. So if we put an A, we get te. Now cover up everything but T-I-O-N, and that almost always sounds like shun. So if we have keep covering and uncovering, X, peck, ta or te, shun. What do you think that word is? It's either X, peck, ta, shun, or X, peck, te, shun. You got it. There you go. So go ahead, read from that comma. There you go. Read next. Victoria, loud and slow.
Hope is also something we believe in.
Slower.
Many people I have known believe in ending
A lot of times when we see a CI in the middle of a word like that, not always, but a lot, it sounds like shh. Rational. But does that sound like a word you do know? That would make sense in this sentence? Maybe not rational. Yeah.
Many people I have known believe in ending
Louder and slower.
racial.
Oh. But is rational a word?
Racial.
Okay, try again. Loud and slow, because you're getting kind of quiet and fast.
Many people I have known believe in ending racial.
Is rational a word? Victoria, we said it like 3 times now. And you keep correcting yourself, but then when we actually have to read it, you read it the old way again. Not rational, but what?
Racial.
Now try again. You're going too fast. See, you're not thinking about the words as you read them. Do you see how that's happening? Because you know it's not supposed to be rational. But you're not thinking about the words as you read them. You're just looking at them and reading it quick and saying rational. Some of you are tuning me out and you do this too, and so this is why you're not learning this lesson, because you're not listening. Lessons for other people, when I say them out loud, are also for you. So think about the words as you're reading them. Try again.
Racial. Many people I have
Louder and slower, you're going real fast.
Many people I have known believe in ending racial segregation in this country.
Louder.
In their hope that it could happen, influence their actions, and brought about change. A friend of mine,
Sounds exactly as it's spelled.
Reverend
That's a long E at the end. Everything else is exactly the same.
Jesse Jackson.
Louder.
Jackson. A friend of mine, the Reaver.
You already said it right. See, you're not thinking of the words as you get to them. You already said it right.
Reverend.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, says we must keep hope alive. I agree. You can help people hope.
Oh, that's not, it doesn't say people.
You can help keep hope alive by believing in yourself. Your hope for yourself and for the future can make this world
Lena.
Dear Miss Parks,
What is that part of the sentence? I mean, of the letter? The what?
it's
Who can help her out? Michaela, what is that part of the letter?
The salutation.
The salutation. Okay, keep going.
Dear Miss Parks, I always like hearing Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s speeches. He was a great man. I wish he was still living. I believe he can straighten out this mess in this country is in. Were you ever afraid of him dying and leaving you here?
What is that part of the letter?
Body.
The body. Okay, finish it out.
Walter.
Not Walter.
Wilbur?
Wilbur.
Wilbur.
Try it out.
Herhoxen,
Herhoxen, I guess.
New York.
What is that part of the letter? Can somebody help her out? Mason? The closing. Good. Why is it not the complimentary closing, Mason?
Because it doesn't have love or any stuff, love or anything up there that makes it right.
It doesn't have any word above the signature, who it's from, to make it a complimentary closing. So it's just a closing, which is okay. Okay, thank you, Lena. Read next. Kingston, loud and slow.
I too wish
Louder.
Dr. King was still with us. It has always been very difficult and very painful to think about Dr. King's death. He was a very dear friend of mine. He spoke with authority and conviction. His faith, his words, and his commitment to nonviolence inspired us all in the civil rights movement.
Okay, thank you.
Is that good?
That was better. We'll keep getting you louder. Zari, read next.
You are right in saying that our country has many problems. We have a long way to go, but we can work together, young and old, to achieve Dr. King's dream of equality and justice.
Equality.
I hope that you will keep that dream in your heart and make it your own.
Okay. So, we know all letters have a salutation, a body, and a complimentary closing. There's one thing I forgot to tell you, and we're going to add it to our notes, so luckily you already have your vocab out. I just forgot to tell you this part, and you will need it for what will become your homework because we don't have time for independent practice. So go, put a space underneath complimentary closing, and then we're going to start with a bullet point this time. There are two main reasons for writing letters. There are two main reasons for writing letters. Now that means there are more than two, but there's two main reasons. There's two reasons we're going to learn about for writing letters. Put a little bit of an indentation. That means space between the pink line and where your little dash is. The first main reason is personal. And that means letters to friends family members. Could be famous people, like in this case. Or people you know. So personal letters are letters to friends, family members, famous people, or people you may know. For friendly reasons. So you're just writing them, letting them know how you are, asking how they are, telling them something fun, asking them questions, just things like that. That would be a personal letter for friendly reasons. What we read today were friendly letters or personal letters. These kids probably are writing to a famous person for friendly reasons. They're asking her questions. They want them to tell them about her life. They want her to tell them about her life. The other one is business reasons. These are letters to companies about products or services. So these are the two main reasons. Personal letters are letters to friends, family members, famous people, or people you may know for friendly reasons. Just a friendly letter. Business letters are letters to companies about products or services. Now, go ahead and finish that out. Girls at home, get out your independent practice so we can look over it really quick. Everybody at school, I'll go ahead and pass it out. Look at the front, page 86. So if you're writing the definition, pause, because you can finish it out in just a minute, but I need you to be listening while we talk about this so you know what to do. On the front, page 86, we have a letter. Mason, make sure you're paying attention to this. Just put your pencil down. You'll have some time. You're fine. On the front, we have two examples of a letter. We have all of the vocab words we talked about today, so make sure you read that box. Not vocab, notes, some of it. And then the directions say, read the letters below, identify each part by drawing a line to the correct label below. On the blank, write whether it is a business or a personal letter. So the first part, you have the three pieces of a letter. The body, the salutation, and the complimentary closing. You draw a line from those boxes to the part it matches on both letters. Then on the line underneath each letter, you say, is it a business letter or is it a personal letter? Any questions about that side? Okay, turn to the back. Some of you are not even looking at it, so you have no idea what to do, which means you're going to struggle tonight. The back has a short passage. The directions you have a box. Now, we've talked a lot about the prefix un. You're also going to learn about the prefix re. We're not going to talk about that, so you need to use this to be able to do it. Then you read, it says, circle the phrases in the story that would sound better using the prefixes un or re. Then write the new words below. It says re means again. So you're either going to see the word not, followed by a noun, and you need to figure out, do I need to change it to an adjective? Do I need to change it to un this, or do I need to leave not? You're also going to find a verb and the word again. Do you need to leave it that way, or do you need it to change it to re, the verb? So, you're going to circle the parts that change. So you're going to circle the not blank or the blank again. Mason, you're not listening. Mason, you're not listening. You're either going to circle the words not blank or the words blank again if you need to change them. Then at the bottom, you're going to write the new word. Now, just because we see the word just because we see the word not or the word again, does that always mean we make it into a prefix? Not always, because then we have unjust, which means we can't say not just. Or if I say I do not like spinach, can I say I do unlike spinach? No, so you need to make sure. Is it the word not followed by an adjective? Then yes, change it to unblank. Is it a verb followed by the word again? Then yes, change it to re-blank. You will not fill all these lines in. I'm not telling you how many because you need to be able to figure that out. But there will be at least one blank line on the back. Does everybody understand? I hope so. Okay, go ahead and put your textbooks away and get out your